Welcome back everyone. So today I've created this look for you using affordable makeup and affordable makeup brushes. So I introduced to you Vanity Planet before via their Skin Spa system, which I really liked, and they've just recently brought out this new brush set called the Palette. The brushes come in this black, soft, roll-out case with a magnetic clasp, and this case is actually made from the shell of lychee fruit, which is really unusual but really cool. And inside is a 15-piece, cruelty-free synthetic brush set. And as they are synthetic, you can use them with cream, liquid or powder. As you can see, the handles are made from birchwood, and considering they're so affordable, I think they actually look a little bit more expensive. So these are your face brushes. You've got everything that you could need for your face. And these are your eye brushes. So you've got a flat shader brush, blending brush, a bullet brush, concealer brush, an angled liner brush, and a few more. If you check my description box, you'll see I have a 70% discount code for you. I'm not earning any commission off of this, I just want to share it with you. If you use the code SHOWBEAUTY at the checkout, you will get these for only $30 instead of $100. So on with the tutorial. I'm starting off by priming my face using Rimmel's Fix and Perfect Primer. From the brush collection, I'm using the flat foundation brush to apply this. For foundation, I'm using Rimmel's Wake Me Up foundation, and I'm using this flat top buffer brush to apply this to the face. Now as always, I like to test everything before I show you them, and I've been using these brushes for a week on and off. I normally find with buffer brushes in particular, when I'm stippling the foundation on, the brush hairs always stick to my face, but I haven't found any shedding with these, so that's a massive plus for these brushes. Moving on to another high street brand, I'm using Sleek. This is their cream contour palette. I'm going to be using the cool tone brown on the flat foundation brush, and I'm going to be swiping that into the hollows of the cheeks. Then going back to my flat top buffing brush, I'm going to use a stipple motion to blend that cream contour into the foundation. Remember to stipple directly over the area you've applied the product and don't try and blend it out too much, otherwise you're going to end up with a muddy finish. Taking the flat shader brush from the collection, I'm working that contour colour down the sides of my nose. Then I'm going to take my buffer brush and pinch it together so that it's slightly thinner, and I'm going to use the same technique and stipple that over the cream contour to help blend it in. Once you've blended both sides with the brush, you then want to go in with your finger and pat over the contour again. The warmth from your finger is going to further blend that product into the skin. I'm also going to apply some of that contour around my hairline, and again use a stipple motion with the buffer brush to blend that in. Don't forget to work that also into the hairline, as that's a telltale sign that your colouring is fake if your forehead doesn't match your scalp. Using the lightest shade from the cream contour palette and the concealer brush, I'm going to use this underneath the eyes to add a little bit of brightness. This matches really well with my skin tone, which I like. I don't like anything too bright underneath the eyes. But if you really like that brightening effect, then get one of the lighter palettes. To powder my skin, I'm going to use the Rimmel Stay Matte Powder. And I'm using the largest brush in the collection, which is the powder brush. And I'm sweeping that over the entire face to set everything in place. For eyeshadow, I'm going to be using my Maxfactor Masterpiece Nude Palette. This is 03 Rosy Nudes, and I'm going to be taking the pencil bullet brush and the second from darkest eyeshadow in the palette, and I'm going to work that on the outer V of the eye. The reason I've chosen this brush is because we want to use it for placement purposes. It's small and quite dense, so it allows us to place it exactly where we want to apply it, and then we can go in with this blending brush, which has bristles that are slightly longer and more splayed out, which means we can diffuse that colour and blend it out. As usual, there's going to be a few different steps to creating this makeup look. The idea is to layer the products so that we get some depth but also some different tones coming through. So don't worry about it being too neat at this stage, because we are going to be going over this with some pigment. For now we just want to get the shape. If you imagine a line from the outer corner of your eye to the end of your eyebrow, and then a line from where your eye naturally creases to the outer corner. That's the initial shape that we want to create with this colour. Once you've got the shape, it's just about building on that with layers of this eyeshadow. So we're going in with 2 or 3 layers and then blending it out. Again, you don't need to be too neat, but just be patient with your blending and you'll find that you'll get that nice gradient. I'm now mixing together the 2 matte brown shades in the palette, and I'm going back in with my pencil bullet brush, and with a light hand I'm working that through the socket. So we've already got the colour on the outer edge, and now we just want a light amount through the socket. I'm mixing together the 2 darkest shades in the palette. We've got a matte finish and a slightly satin finish. And on the flat shader brush from the collection, I'm patting that onto the outer half of the mobile eyelid. Again, don't worry about being too neat with this, you just want to get that colour on first, because we're going to be going over this with some pigment. Taking the blending brush, I'm going to feather the seam of the eyeshadow on the mobile eyelid, so it isn't as harsh looking. I'm also going to blend it through the socket area, again just so everything blends nicely. It doesn't have to be too neat, but at least there won't be any harsh edges. If these were the only colours we were using, we would take our time with it, but again we're going in with this pigment which is called Secret by Peaches and Cream, and we're going to layer this over the top of the brown eyeshadow. I'm using the small flat brush to apply this. The bristles are really dense, so it just picks the pigment up and packs it onto the eye. So I've placed that over the brown eyeshadow on the mobile eyelid, and I'm using the blending brush to feather that pigment up slightly. Going in with the darkest shade from the palette and the angled liner brush, I'm tracing that outer V shape, keeping the very outer line quite crisp, and then I'm flicking the colour onto the eyelid. This means that the darkest area will be the very outer corner, and then it fades into that cranberry brown shade, and then I'm using my blending brush to soften the very top line. Then I repeated the steps again to build up that intensity. Note how I'm blending from the outer corner inwards, and I'm keeping it in a straight line. I'm not blending the colour up, otherwise we're going to lose that flesh tone that we've got underneath the brow bone. Going back in with the satin finish brown, on the small flat detailer brush I'm applying that underneath the lower lashes, and then using a light hand I'm using the bullet brush to diffuse that colour slightly towards the inner corner. Using what's left on the bristles of my angled liner, I'm just connecting the outer corner to the top lid. On top of that brown underneath the lower lashes I'm applying some of the Secret pigment. I'm doing this so it matches the top lid, and this really helps to frame the eyes. I'm going to swipe some of the NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk on the back of my hand, and using this crease shader brush I'm going to apply that to the inner corner of the mobile eyelid, but I'm also going to take it above where my eye naturally creases. We're not carving out a shape, we're not going to be that precise, we're just using this to lighten this area ready for the next pigment. If you would prefer to carve it out so you get that really nice defined shape, you're more than welcome. You can also use a concealer if you don't have the NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk. The next pigment I'm taking is another affordable one by Peaches and Cream, and this one is called Peached. This is described as a warm nude rose gold shimmer. And using the flat shader brush again, I'm applying that directly over the area that we've applied the NYX Jumbo Milk Pencil. Don't worry about the seams just yet. Pack the colour on first, wipe off the excess from the bristles, and then go back in with the tip to feather the seams. And as you can see, we get that beautiful metallic finish to the eyes. I've wiped the brush off, and I'm going back in with the Secret pigment on the outer corner just to reapply it, because sometimes with a bit of the blending you can lose the vibrancy. And using the bullet brush I'm fading that colour up, and as you can see everything now looks a lot neater. I'm going in with the Rimmel Colour Precise eyeliner. This is in black, and I'm doing a simple winged liner. Because the nib of the pen is quite long, it allows you to draw long precise lines, so it makes liner really quick and easy. This one would be really good for those of you that struggle with the winged liner. As I said, because the nib's quite long, it does the work for you, so you can create a nice crisp flick at the edge. For eyeliner, I'm going to use Avon's Super Shock Gel Liner. To this day, it's still hands down my favourite kohl pencil. It's super soft, super pigmented, and it really doesn't budge. And the best part is, it's really affordable. Going back to the small detailer brush, I'm applying the lightest shade in the Maxfactor palette to the inner corner of the eyes. I can imagine if you use this damp, you'd get an even more metallic finish on that inner corner. For mascara, I'm using this one by MUA Cosmetics, and this one is their Mega Volume Mascara. I quite like the wand on this. I'm not sure about the formula yet. I prefer mascaras when they've been open a week or two. Off camera, I'm applying these double volume lashes from Superdrug. And now I'm going to do my brows. This one is by Maybelline. The colour I'm using is dark brown, and this pencil is actually really great. It's the same shape as the Anastasia Beverly Hills. For me, the only downside is that it doesn't have a spoolie on the other end. Instead, it's got a powder, which I wouldn't use. I'm whizzing through my brows. It's the same story as always. You've seen me do them a million times over. I'm just filling in my natural shape. I always start at the bottom of my brow, using the pencil to flick hair-like marks through the brow, and then I use a spoolie just to comb the colour through. I'm using this blush by Soap & Glory called Made You Blush in Twinkle Rose, and I'm using the angled contour blush brush from the brush collection. I love how soft these brushes are, and as you can see they just applied the blush beautifully. The lipstick I'm using is by MUA Cosmetics, and this one is called Bear. The colour is a really beautiful nude shade, and it felt really hydrating on the lips, and can you believe it's only £1? I was really impressed with it. I'm using this lip gloss called Disco Ball by L'Oreal. I think this is my new favourite lip gloss. It's absolutely beautiful and really suits my skin tone. So that completes my tutorial using affordable makeup and affordable makeup brushes. Don't forget to make use of the 70% discount code for the makeup brushes. All the details will be listed in the description bar below. As always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so, and you can click on my previous videos for more. Bye!